Welcome back, Raiders. Today we're going to cover patch notes that have been dropping in the Arc Raiders community Discord over the last couple of months. Those who have been following the game closely may have seen a few of these updates already, but I figured it's worth compiling everything that's changed with the game behind the scenes, and trust me, there's a lot, so you guys can be fully informed before you jump into the free Server Slam playtest happening October 17th through the 19th on all platforms. If you guys are as hyped for launch as I am, be sure to smash the thumbs up button down below. Now without further ado, let's get into it. The first update comes from Dusty, the community lead at Embark Studios, who sat down with the design director to discuss the balance of risk and reward in Arc Raiders. They state that Arc Raiders at its core is a game about taking risks. Balancing risk and reward, or what we call high stakes, is standard practice in game design. It's the cornerstone of our gameplay mechanics, and those high stakes influence everything from the items that you bring with you, the noises you make, the fights you pick, and the places you dare to go. The dangers you face should always feel worth the rewards they yield. In a session of Arc Raiders, the clearest way to communicate risk is through the map screen. It highlights areas where you can expect to run into greater Arc threats, but have high concentrations of valuable loot as well. Players naturally gravitate towards these hotspots, often leading to encounters with other Raiders. From data in Tech Test 2, we could see that these high-risk areas were doing their job. They drew in more traffic, provided the best loot opportunities, and generated more player collisions. We did find some discrepancies that are still being improved, like locked rooms that didn't provide enough value for the rarity of their keys and the difficulty of getting into them. We also saw high-risk areas which had great loot without a matching Arc presence to match it, and we're adjusting Arc spawns to give players a suitable challenge if they get there first. So what are my thoughts on this? It seems like there's a nice bit of give and take here. Some areas give great loot with no risk, and others have disappointing loot that didn't match the degree of difficulty to get there, and Embark seems to be keenly aware of both ends of the spectrum. They go on to note that they use heat maps like the one shown on screen to better understand player behavior, which shows player movement activity in the dam for the duration of Tech Test 2. The data also revealed unexpected hotspots, places we didn't intend to be frequented by players. We're investigating what drew them to those areas to find out what made them so interesting, and rather than trying to remove those points of interest, we're working on applying additional level design to enhance and embellish them as worthwhile areas to play in. First of all, I absolutely love this. Instead of nerfing areas they didn't initially deem valuable, they're giving players even more reasons to go to these locations. I think the best example we can infer from the heat map is likely this dark red area between water treatment and the hydrodomes. It's far enough away from these larger POIs that it likely warrants a more fleshed out map design, but we'll have to just wait and see what they come up with. We also maintain heat maps for spawns, deaths, loot actions, arc spawns, arc deaths, PvP damage, PvE damage, extraction starts, successes, and failures, and so much more. And as we continue to journey towards launch, insights like these are vital in making sure we ship the best version of Arc Raiders. I mean, at this point, it's kind of hard to argue against any of the changes they're making. They all seem to be extremely well informed based on player data, as well as community sentiment, so it'll be exciting to see what kind of changes they cook up for the full release of the game. Our next update might just be the most surprising of this entire video because it actually comes from the official Arc Raiders Steam page, but is buried all the way under the Read More Info section, so a lot of people have totally missed this. It looks like we're getting a fully fleshed out rank mode of sorts, stating that as you make a name for yourself, you'll be able to measure your skill against other raiders by taking on trials, which, by the way, we have no idea what that is just yet, rising through the leaderboard to earn valuable rewards. If the rumors are true that there isn't going to be any form of loot wipe in this game, a well-done ranked mode and other endgame pursuits could be their answer to long-term replayability. We'll have to wait and see how this all plays out, but it just seems like when the game can't get any more hype, they drop some news out of nowhere and continue to blow us away. Our third update comes from Sprinkle Mountain, one of the lead combat designers for Arc Raiders. They state that we've been hard at work preparing for launch, adding new content, sharpening what's already there, and making sure the encounters you'll get into are as thrilling, fair, and gratifying as they can be. One of our many learnings from Tech Test 2 was that a few weapons and gadgets were bending the rules in ways that didn't align with our design intent, either by making fights too quick, too one-sided, or just not giving players the time or tools to respond. Our combat is built on letting action ramp up and having room to breathe, not just explode and end in an instant. We want those moments to linger where two players feel locked in, reading each other's actions and responding with their own. So when weapons like the Arpeggio and the Tempest had such fast cadence and short TTKs, these moments didn't have a chance to happen, and we're tuning them to restore that flow. We're also thinking hard about range and versatility. Your loadouts should influence how you move through the world, which fights you take, and how you win them. Even though the Anvil is a personal favorite of mine, as I'm sure is with a lot of people in the community, it was performing a bit too well at long ranges to the point where it started cannibalizing our rifles. Similarly, we found that our shotguns were overshadowing our SMGs. We want shotguns to feel viable, maybe more than they do typically in PvP games, but we overshot. The Volcano hits too hard, too fast, and from too far away. So we're reworking its base cadence, spread, and how damage falls off over distance, while still leaving room for you to mod it to act like the beast that it was. And yes, you were right, the heavy shields were way too strong, and shield swapping was also way too efficient. This is obviously a lot to take in, especially if you didn't get a chance to play the tech test yourself, but having played for more than 40 hours during that window, I can assure you that these are very promising notes from the dev team for several reasons. One, they're not afraid to nerf things when they feel like it's compromising the vision of their game, but at the same time, they're letting you reach those same powerful levels as long as you fully invest into it. It's also worth noting that the Finals, Embark's previous title, is in a much better state now than it was on release, and a lot of that comes down to their ability to analyze player data and combine that with player feedback for meaningful changes. They don't want an item or weapon to be the best choice in every single scenario, because diversity and balance is extremely important in games like this, and their changes are extremely calculated. Now, it's not realistic to perfectly balance everything in the sandbox. In fact, I feel like you need some chase items and outliers to give players a sense of power fantasy and progression as you level up, but with that said, it's good to see them holding firm to their principles to help prevent stale metas. Next up, we have hatches, and if you're not familiar with them, I'll give a brief overview. Instead of traveling into high traffic areas to extract through the typical elevators, hatches are a quieter, faster, and more efficient way to extract. As you can imagine, this is an extremely powerful tool because they're typically met with little to no resistance, but as a trade-off, these can only be accessed via hatch keys that could be purchased, crafted, or found in raid. The developer notes that from data in Tech Test 2, we saw that these hatches were a very popular choice. In fact, high-level players used hatches a whopping 40% of the time, which is far more often than intended. Hatches, while safer, are also just more boring to use as they provide a 3-for-1 deal when extracting with a squad, which means an entire squad can use them. We want heart rates to go up when trying to extract, and that can't happen when you can always quietly drop into a hole in the ground. This means we need to rethink how hatch keys are acquired and make sure that using one is a choice that needs to be carefully weighed, not something you can rely on for every extract. To be honest, I completely agree with this change. Extraction shooters are built around tension, and when you remove that by trivializing one of the most intense parts of a raid, those heart-pounding moments become less frequent and the game becomes less fun. It'll be interesting to see how they address this, but if I had to guess, Embark will either significantly increase the cost of crafting hatch keys or potentially even remove the ability to purchase or craft them altogether. I'd personally like to see hatch keys become a high rarity item that can only be found in raid, but let me know what you guys think about these changes down in the comments below. Our final update is a quick one, but I think you'll find this one pretty cool. I'm sure most of you are familiar with the workshop from the tech test, but if you're not, think of it as a one-stop shop for all craftable items in game. Every station has its own unique purpose, such as weapon crafts, medical supplies, and so on, and can be upgraded over time. Well, we're actually getting a second personal space known as the Raider's Den, which is an upgradable personal space that will reflect your achievements in-game. Embark states that when you arrive, you'll be greeted by a metal cot, peeling decorations, and a door frame with a notable lack of a door. As you progress through Arc Raiders, your den will progress with you. We know how rewarding it is to visually see the progress your raider is making and the loot they're accumulating, so our intention with the den is to do just that. Your best guns will be proudly displayed on the walls, your highest value items will be proudly displayed on your shelves, and they also note that they will continue to refine the den to make everything feel even more personalized and rewarding, which I think is a pretty sick little update from the dev team. And that's going to do it for the video. Let me know what you guys think about all of these changes down in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed this one, and if you did, liking this video, using that hype button on mobile, and commenting really does help our channel grow. We're on the road to 100K, so if you guys can take a couple seconds to do that, I would genuinely appreciate it. I'm so hyped for the Server Slam weekend, and I'd love to see you guys in the live stream over at twitch.tv/above, where we can absolutely degen the game together and continue to build hype towards launch. With all of that said, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll catch you topside.